growing up in Cairo was beautiful. As a child, my best friend was a Muslim.
I was born in Beirut, Lebanon. My parents were refugees from Aleppo, Syria. Lebanon was slightly different than other Arab countries, at least at the beginning. Having a balance of government over there between the Muslims and the Christians. The Jews were welcomed at the beginning, and it was kind of a safe haven.
When I was 6 years old, I experienced my first experience of hate culture and intolerance because I was taken to a madrasa public school in Tripoli, and the teacher who was teaching arithmetic to 6-year-old little Arab girls turned to the board and said, "If you have 10 Jews and you kill 5 of them, how many Jews do you have left to kill?"
We were not expelled. We dreamt of being expelled. Every day we were hoping that we get expelled.
I remember by night somebody was throwing stones on our windows, and we didn't dare even to open to see who did it. We were afraid, frightened. All this harassment every day at the Jewish quarter of Cairo, once it was bombed and people were killed.
What really sped our exodus from Lebanon was a picture that was taken at a wedding of the 3 rabbis of Lebanon. One of them was my father. I still have the picture until now. And that picture appeared on the doors of the mosques in Lebanon, and also in a magazine, with the caption at the end saying, "These are the rabbis of the Jewish community, the leaders of the Zionist Jews."
I realized later on in life that we really lived in denial because we always felt things would get better simply because the Jews were not allowed to leave the country. So we had to do the best we could under the circumstances. So in a way, the 67 war allowed us to live not in the way we wished. But when the war broke out in 1967, I was working for a British company just as a summertime job, and the mob took to the streets in Tripoli and started shouting "Adbah al-Yud," which means in Arabic, "slaughter the Jews."
I remember myself telling myself it would be good to die, but it will not be good for my parents if I die. So a 12-year-old girl thinking such a thing, it says she wasn't really happy.
And it's very difficult to explain today that you leave somewhere that you and your ancestors have lived for 2,600 years. You leave it like a criminal in the night, without saying goodbye to your girlfriend, without saying goodbye to your teacher, not knowing whether you will see them again, and in fact hoping that you'll never see them, because the worst thing is that you get caught and they will see you again in worse conditions. So it was, now we can tell it as a story, but you have to see the steps that we went, and also we did not know the direction, we did not know the route, we were not, even my father did not know, because in case we get caught, we had to only know step by step. So we only knew that we had to go to the train station. That was the only thing that my father knew. So we left the house as if we were going on just for half an hour. The Jews were not allowed to go more than 5-kilometer radius without informing police and all that. So we went as if we're going to the market. We parked the car as if we are normal family outing. We went to the station and we stood there waiting until somebody walked in and says, "Oh, Mr. Shukri, I hear that going to Mosul is beautiful in this time of the year. Really, you should try it." And he just disappeared. And so that was the cue for the next step and the next step and the next step, until, thank God, we actually made it, and we were taken to a village in Iran and it was just before dawn broke, in the middle of night. We were just left there, and thank God it was the right place, because the next morning somebody came to pick us up, and again we're here to tell the story.
You know, we discovered later that my mother was crying every night. We never saw her crying, never.
We did not have a passport. We could not have a passport. We had a laissez-passer. And on the laissez-passer of Lebanon, there was a stamp that says aller sans retour, which means you leave without coming back.
We were made refugees. It wasn't just the Palestinians. Of course, we have to address the issue of the Palestinians and whatever the rights have to be addressed. But in order to be fair, we need to give a balanced view of both sides. We were made refugees, and the Palestinians were made refugees out of the same conflict. But they don't have a monopoly on it. The rights of both have to be addressed. I believe that the Libyan people are not ready to look at their past. They are still extremely anti-Jewish, and I don't think that this will change, unfortunately. I would not want to go back to Libya for the simple reason that why would I want to go back to a country that hates Jews when there haven't any?
Sometimes the obstacle is that people just do not believe that there were 850,000 people who all must have stories like this. But how come even the Jewish population have not heard about it? Where was this story for so long?
It's important because it's a part of the history of Am Israel. It's part of our history, not only of the Jews from Arab countries. When you had 1 million Jews in Arab countries and now none in Egypt, we disappeared. You cannot forget this.